Okay, so now on to expanding and simplifying involving a single bracket. So it's kind of building on from what we've previously done. So the question here is saying expand and simplify. And we know expand now means you're multiplying out the bracket. So if we just go and consider, right, one pair of brackets, so this bracket, and then we go and consider this bracket, it will all kind of come together. So we're just going to go and consider the first bracket here to begin with. So if we go and expand this, we're doing x and we multiply it by x. And we know that x times x gives you x squared. We've then got an x times by a positive 5. X times 5 gives you positive 5x. Okay, so that's the first bracket. Let's now go and consider expanding the second bracket, which is positive 2x times by x and then positive 2x times by a 4. Well, 2x times by x is going to give you positive 2, and then x times x is x squared. You then got a 2x times by a 4, or 2 times 4 is going to give you positive 8, and you've got the x on the end, so plus 8x. And now this is where the simplifying part, so we've expanded it, we've now got to go and simplify by collecting like terms. So which terms here have the same variables? You've got an x squared and a plus 2x squared. These are like, they both have an x squared. And similarly, over here we've got a plus 5x and a plus 8x. They both have an x variable. So these are the like terms here. So what is 1x squared add 2x squared? We now know that's going to be 3x squared. And you've got a plus 5x plus an 8x. Well, 5 and 8 is going to give you positive 13. So plus 13x. And this here is your answer. Okay, so you can try that your turn. You can give it a go and you can fast forward to see the answer, or you can work through it with me if you need some more time with this. So let's again begin by expanding the brackets one at a time to begin with, and then we can go and simplify it. So if we look at the first bracket, first of all, we've got 3y, we're timesing it by 2y, and 3y times 2y, well, we know that 3 times 2 is going to give you a 6, y times y times y is going to give you a y squared. We've then got a 3y times by a plus 4, or 3 times 4 is going to give you plus 12, and you've got the y there, so plus 12y. That's the first bracket expanded. The second bracket we've got over here is going to be a positive y times with a y, or y times y is y squared, so plus y squared. You then got a y times by a 2, y times 2 is plus 2y. Okay, and then we're going expand. It should say simplify, sorry. It should say expand and simplify. So we're now going to go and simplify this. So which of these terms are like? You've got a 6y squared and a plus 1y squared that both have the same variable, y squared. And similarly, over here, it's got a plus 12y and a plus 2y. So you've got a y and a y that are like variables, like terms. So what's 6y squared add 1y squared? It's going to give you 7y squared. And you've got a plus 12y plus a 2y is going to give you plus 14, plus 14y, and that is your answer. Again, you can't combine this in any way because a y squared and a y, these are different variables, so you've got to keep it separate if you're adding. If you got that answer, well done, that's really good. And we're going to look at a slightly trickier example now because we've got negative signs also involved. But again, same process, right? We've got to expand each bracket first of all. So let's go and do that. Okay, so the first bracket, if we go and consider this first bracket, we've got 2a times by a, so 2a times a. Well, we've got, it's going to give you 2. A times a is 2a squared. You've got a 2a times by a negative 2. If it was a plus 2, well, 2 times 2 would give you 4. But it's got a minus sign, so minus 2a times by negative 2 minus 4a. That's the first bracket done. The second bracket, we've got a times 3, and it's plus a, so it's going to give you positive 3a. And you've got a plus a times by a negative a. Well, if it was a times a, we know that would give you a squared, but you've got a negative sign there. Okay, so negative a squared. And again, we go and simplify now by looking at the like terms. You've got an a squared and an a squared, so it's going to be 2a squared, and you've got to keep that negative with that a squared. And then we've got also a negative 4a with a plus 3a. So what's 2 take away 1? It's going to give you 1. 2 take away 1 is 1, so 1a squared, which you just write as a squared, means the same thing. And you've got a negative 4 plus 3, so you're at negative 4. okay, which is here, and you're adding on 3. So you're going up by 1, 2, 3, which is going to get you to negative 1 because you're getting bigger. So it's going to be negative 1, so negative 1a, which you just write as minus a, okay, because it means the same thing. So there we go. That is your answer. So you can now try your turn, and then we can go through this. So again, beginning by expanding the first bracket, so it's going to be k times 3k. It's going to give you 3k squared. K times by a negative 1. Well, if it was k times 1, it would give you just k, but you've got that negative sign there, so minus k. The second bracket, we've got a plus 2k times by a 2. Well, 2 times 2 is positive 4, and you've got the k with it. You then got a plus 2k times by a negative k. Well, you've got a positive with a negative, so it's going to be negative. You've got the 2, and k times k is k squared. Again, let's now go and collect up the terms that are like. So you've got a 3k squared and a negative 2k squared. And you've also got a negative k with a plus 4k. So what's 3? Take away 2. It's going to give you 1. So 1k squared, or just k squared, means the same thing. And you've got negative 1 plus 4. So again, number line, you're at negative 1, you're adding 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So negative 1 is 0, 1, 2, 3, positive 3. So plus 3, and then you've got a k there. So this here is your answer. If you got that, superb. We can then look at another question. How many more have we got? A couple more. So this one here, expand and simplify again. Let's look at this one. So again, begin by looking at the first bracket. We've got a times a, which we know is going to be a squared. A times c is going to give you plus ac. We've then got over here, we've got a positive c times by a 2, so plus 2c. And a c times by a 3a, it's going to give you positive 3 times a times c is just simply 3ac. You just clump it all together. Okay, and this one, let's look at our like terms. Well, this one, the a squared, actually there's no other term that has an a squared in it. So you can't do anything with that. So you leave that as it is. Highlighter, let's get this. We've got a plus AC and a plus 3AC that both have an AC. And unfortunately, there's nothing with just a C in it. So we can only combine the AC and the 3AC. Okay, so overall, it's going to be the a squared, we just keep it as a squared. We've got 1ac and 3ac, which is going to give you positive 4ac. And you've got a 2c on the end, plus 2c. And we can't combine this any further because if we look at the variables, a squared, ac, and c, they're not like. So you can't do any more simplifying that. So that is simply your answer. And you could write these in any order. You could have written the 2c first, and you could have written all this first, but this is the highest power, so it's better convention to write this first with AC and then C. Okay. Next one, you can try this one. Pause video and then we can mark it. So expand it again. If we multiply out the bracket, we've got x times y, which is simply xy. We've got x times by a positive 4x, which is going to be positive 4x squared, because x times x is x squared. We've then got a positive, so second bracket, we've got a positive 2y times an x is going to give you 2xy. And we've got a 2y times by a y, which is going to give you positive 2y squared. I think looking at this, no, it's fine. It's okay. It's good. Looking at the like terms now. So we've got, what have we got? We've got an xy and another xy, which is nice. So we've got this going with this. Unfortunately, these terms, this and this, are not the same, so we can't do any more simplifying. But we can say that overall, we've got a 4x squared. We've got a positive 2y squared, so plus 2y squared. And then we've got, well, 1xy, a 2xy is going to give you plus 3xy. And again, this variable, and this variable, they're all different, so you can't do any more combining. And these can go in any order. It doesn't really matter. Okay, I've just done it in this order because I like x is first with the square part, y with the square part, and then this part. But the order doesn't really matter. If you wrote 3xy, a 2y squared, a 4x squared, it means the same thing as this. Okay, but importantly, you can't simplify this any further because this and this and this have different variables. They're not like terms. You could only simplify the x, y parts. Okay, on to the last question. Expand and simplify. So this one, same idea, 5c by c, looking at the first bracket, is going to give you 5 by 2 is 10c squared. 5c times by a plus d is going to give you plus 5cd. Negative c times by d is minus cd. And a negative c with a negative 2c, you've got two negatives, it's going to give you a positive, so plus 2c squared. And this one is nicer because we've now got a c squared with a c squared, which is good. So we've got a 10c squared with a positive 2c squared. And we've also got a cd with another cd, which is good. So we've got a plus 5cd with a negative 1cd. So 10c squared at 2c squared is going to give you 12c squared plus 5, take away 1 is 4, plus 4, so 4cd. 5 take away 1 is positive 4, hence the plus there. So it's going to be, this is your answer. Good. So to finish up with, you can give this one here a go, and that's going to be it for this video. So expand the brackets, again look at the first bracket, we've got a 2b times by a 5b, or 2 times 5 is 10, b times b is b squared. We've then got a 2b times by a plus 3c, 2 times 3 is plus 6, b times c is just bc, 6bc. Second bracket, we've got a negative b times by a 3c. You've got one negative with a positive, so negative 3bc. Negative b with a negative b. Two negatives are going to give you a positive, and b times b, we know is b squared, so positive b squared. And again, much nicer this time because we've got a b squared and a b squared. So we've got a 10b squared and a plus 1b squared. And we've got a plus 6bc, take away 3bc. So 10b squared add 1b squared is 11b squared. So let's make that a little bit nicer. That's your answer. And then you've got a plus 6bc, take away 3bc. Well, 6 take away 3 is positive 3, so plus 3bc. And this is your answer. And that is it for this video. Okay, if you got your terms correct, fantastic. If you need to go through anything again, you can do at your own speed. Okay, thank you for watching.